You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Whoa. Okay, sweet. Guys, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining today and streaming this live webinar. My name's Nima. I'm the Publisher Development Manager here at Rakuten. We're going to be trying a new format today in webinars, so we're going to try and spice things up a bit. But essentially, this is the first episode of our Hot Seat interview series. So we're going to be sitting down with one publisher each month moving forward, talking all things affiliate and dousing our lunch in progressively hotter hot sauces. So today I'm joined by Angus and Tom. You guys are probably very familiar with these faces already. But I thought I'd throw it over to you guys quickly, just in case there are people on the call who aren't aware of who you are, what you do, and just kind of a general overview on ShopBack.
Sure. I'll kick off. I mean, just like social distancing isn't great today because there's only one microphone between us and it's in Tom's ear. So forgive us for that. Folks who are on the call, my name is Angus. I'm the ShopBack Country Manager for Australia. So my job is looking after the sales, marketing and operations functions for the region here. Tom, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah,
before we...
So my name's Tom and I look after the sales and partnership side of the business. So work with Gus.
And I can honestly say we're both extremely worried about today's challenge. This is by far, just smelling this array of hot sauce in front of us is fear-invoking. I'm already sweating. I'm sure Tom is as well. But for those of you who don't know who ShopBack is, essentially it's our job to connect customers with brands. We're an affiliate. We started in Australia in 2018. So we've been here for 2 years now and grown to kind of number one when it comes to user base. And our mission is quite simple. It's just to help people save time and money when they're shopping online.
Magic, guys. Thank you for that. From my end, we'll do a very, very quick intro on the sources and what's going to happen in this webinar before we jump in. So super simple. Hot seat is essentially, there's 5 questions, 5 hot wings, 5 sauces. Each question goes on, the hot sauces get hotter. It's that simple. So we'll be discussing a few talking points with the guys here today. But honestly, if it does get unbearably hot, guys, just like raise your hand or let me know you can't speak. But I don't think we'll get to that point, but just in case.
They smell horrific.
Yeah, so bad.
Like horrendous.
I mean, to give people context, Scoville measures chili. So it goes from 1 all the way to 2.5 mil. 2.5 mil is Carolina Reaper. And just to give you guys some context, 10,000 Scovilles is just like your regular Tabasco. So today we're going from 5,000 Scovilles all the way up to about 680,000 Scovilles. So that's,
oh my God.
I don't know if it's right to say, but potentially 68 times the potency of Tabasco is what health is. So the 5 sources very quickly. So number 1 is 5,000 Scovilles. So this is secret aardvark. That's half the spice level of Tabasco.
Easy.
2, Dirty Dick's Tropical Twist. This is essentially 21,000 Scovilles, so just over double Tabasco. 3, we've got Seed Ranch, the hot Thai green sauce. Looking forward to that. And then 4th and 5th. So 4th is Cully's Firewater, which is essentially lava, right? And finally, 1 is Hellfire. So this actually has Carolina Reaper, the world's hottest chili inside it.
You also have to use a spoon to get it out of the jar.
Yeah.
It's not a sauce.
Seed Ranch was 75,000 Scovilles, and Cully's Hot Water was 112, and the hottest one is 679 or 78 or 68. So 680, essentially, 680,000. So before we jump into it, guys, anyone who's watching, you can submit questions. So if there's any questions for the guys, we're going to take potentially 1 or 2 at the end, subject to time and pain levels. So if you want to jump on Slido, so it's www.sli.do, and the conference password is Hot Seat ShopBack. So just jump in. I'll remind you through the webinar that it's still open, but just feel free to submit questions when you guys want. So without further ado, question 1 coming up. You guys may as well, we may need together. Prep hot wing 1.
Okay. This is the aardvark, yeah?
This is the aardvark, yes. This is 5,000 Scovilles.
They just go light. So it's a marathon.
Yeah, I've tried a tiny bit of this already. It's actually quite nice. You'd like it. All right, guys. So firstly, congratulations to ShopBack as a whole, because ShopBack Australia have just celebrated their 2nd birthday here. Huge milestone for you guys in the Australian market. I know the birthday came at a really funny time. It came kind of, a month and a half, 2 months into the whole global pandemic of COVID here. So the online retail space had changed vastly. We were seeing trends already. Were there any obvious trends at your end? Because I know essentially people were going from non-essential more towards essential. Certain verticals dropped off, such as travel. Did ShopBack have to change their approach to this campaign? Because I know it's one of the biggest campaigns you run during the year. And if so, what did you guys change? And was it, initially as big as a success as you anticipated?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I think like the planning of birthday was a bit different this year. So you're right, the pandemic hit kind of halfway through. Like our birthday was in April, so we're kind of well into the pandemic. But in terms of the planning stages, it was right at the start of it. So the uncertainty, not just for people, but also for businesses, was at an all-time high. If you think about how that affected, a few user groups, so like ShopBackers, and the customers, and also the brands we work with. From a ShopBacker point of view, like we were really uncertain about where the hell we were going to be working to start with, right? So work from home, thinking about how we set our team up for success was like a priority. Mm-hmm. When we think about, then we needed to do some really quick deep diving into like a really fast moving, shifting landscape as well when it came to our brands. So you remember back to March, that's when everyone literally lost their minds and cleared the shelves out of toilet paper for some unknown reason. And therefore brands were having massive over demand issues, and some were having fulfillment and supply issues as well. So that was something we need to focus on and be super flexible, allowing our brands more time to kind of think about what kind of offers they'd want to run. Obviously we wanted as many brands to participate as possible, but we needed to be quite reactionary and last minute. From a consumer standpoint though, it was really interesting, right? Because I mean, hand on heart, there was a few nights there where we were kind of thinking, is this the right time to run a birthday campaign? Is this an insensitive time to be kind of shouting out a marketing message like that? But the research was telling us largely that, north of 80% of customers still expected brands to market, all right? So they still expected some form of marketing or promotions to be going on. So that ticked that box. So then it was more pivoting to, how do we need to gear this campaign differently to a campaign that we would have perhaps done in the start in terms of structure, marketing, supply. So when we look at from a marketing standpoint, what we really wanted to do was like move further up the funnel than perhaps where we've gone before when it came to us reaching out to our existing customers and new customers. And the form that took was largely around high engagement mechanics. Mm-hmm. So we worked with a bunch of influencers, some kind of Aussie known celebrities, to put together virtual Pictionary games. So throughout our birthday campaign, we weren't just running conversion mechanics whereby we were just shouting about brands and offers. We were really trying to bring people into our ecosystem, keep them entertained while they're at home, first and foremost, like keep them busy and keep their minds occupied. Mm-hmm. So Pictionary was a good mechanic for that. We also ran an amazing race, ShopBack Amazing Race, which spanned across the whole internet. So basically we planted clues and had people kind of treasure hunt across the internet. With those two activities, we had over 15,000 people engage in that. So was it a success based on those metrics? Absolutely. But ultimately, it was really about being super flexible because brands' budgets were being placed were on hold or being placed differently. And that, like, we're a supply-led business, right? So without brands on board, the customers won't come. So we ultimately needed to be super flexible, but also engage customers in different ways as well.
Yeah, so two real key elements there. Yeah, like you said, keeping people entertained and bringing them into the ecosystem and ensuring that you could stress test and give time to partners. Yeah, I know it was a big success. I saw the metrics that were posted on your LinkedIn, 1,000 clickouts, peak traffic time to partners. Tom, I know you've been through 2 birthdays at ShopBack now. August, were you here for the last one or no?
Yeah.
Oh, you were, yeah. So I know, Tom, you've been here for 2 years now.
Yeah.
At one point you were just a name on an email signature, but now 2 years down the line, are there any other like big notable challenges like what you guys have just experienced with this birthday campaign, or notable wins? Is there anything in the past 2 years? I know it probably doesn't compare to this, but is there anything else?
Hey, I don't think there's anything that's similar in terms of like challenges. Like I think this is just so unique in terms of what brands are going through and what our customers are going through and sort of what we're trying to adapt to. 2 years ago, I was on an email to you actually, just Tom from ShopBack, and it's an interesting one. Like I think one of the biggest challenges that we had was for the first 6 months, or at least for the first 6 months to a year, we were selling like our vision of what ShopBack was going to be in Australia. Like we're huge across Southeast Asia with millions of users, but when we came to Australia, we were nothing. So I think the biggest challenge that we faced as a business was trying to get businesses to buy in before we had customers, before we I can give you a soulless email to my 50 users. We just didn't have anything. So that was a massive challenge. But then from the successes, I think, again, it's the same thing, right? Like a year ago, we had 0 customers or users of ShopBack. We're now sort of 1.1 million. And then along that way, you get loads of wins, like moving into our first office out of our really, really dingy Airbnb. Seeing the first order come through, like hitting #1 in the app charts. Like there's so many like little wins across the way. But I think like our big ones are obviously market dominance and hitting that 1 million mark user. They were 2 really aggressive goals that we set right at the beginning.
Huge, guys, huge, 100% huge. 1.1 in 2 years is a big milestone and a big achievement. How are you guys feeling after the first source?
Mate, I've got to be honest, like it was probably more vinegary than spice. Like, so, I don't know.
What was the, what were the scobles on that one?
That was 5,000, so that's half of Tabasco.
Okay, and we're going up to 650,000.
Yeah.
All right.
On that, let's do a second one. So second one, we have Dirty Dicks. This is the hot sauce, habanero sauce with a tropical twist, as they say. So this.
Wait, which one have you got? Let's see.
This one here.
Oh, so that's this one.
Yep. Yeah.
We may have messed up our ordering, so we could be on actually the 5th one.
This is 21,000. But yeah, no, on the database side, the Australian population now just sits at around 25 million. So in terms of size of country and population size, it's relatively small. With cashback being an offering here in Australia for about 7 years now, still relatively young market. 1.1 million users on a database now, relatively low in terms of population penetration. What have ShopBack been doing to educate Australians around cashback and affiliate? And how important is that education aspect and initiative as a publisher here in such a small market?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you this one. So yeah, look, I think when we entered the market 2 years ago, there was quite like a small education of what cashback was, and I think the market size is huge, right? Like there's so many users that shop online, and now more than ever, I think we're seeing like crazy amounts of shoppers online. So there's no real, I can talk about like a couple of things, but I think there's no real success like remedy that we've got. But I know there's a couple of things I want to touch on. One is that we're super lucky in that we have like a world-class marketing team in Australia. Like,
shout out to them.
Shout out to all the crew. But genuinely, like I've worked. Sorry, these spices are actually coming through.
I know.
So yeah, we've got a world-class team. They're as a group of people, they're like the most relentless group of individuals that I've ever worked with in their pursuit to like hit their goals. And their goals for us is reaching as many Australians as we possibly can and making sure that they love our product. So over the last 2 years, we've spent a heap of cash really smartly in different channels, whether that's radio, TV, above the line. We wrapped up Martin Place train station, very strategic times of the year at different points that have all sort of resulted in our user growth. I think the other interesting one is our product in terms of what we offer. It's not for any specific demographic of customers. Like it's not Gen Z, millennial, baby boomers. Like it's not for any of these guys. It's more suited to an attitude of shopper. So someone who wants to save money, someone that wants to be savvy. So I think what that's allowed us to do is go mass market instead of like a niche demographic. So I think that's obviously helped the marketing team tap into various different new channels. That's allowed us obviously to reach and acquire customers so fast.
Yeah, no, that's just really good. I mean, like you said, the awareness of you guys, the education, and also like the usability, because people don't know what TQs are, tracking links, et cetera. So it's a hard point because in loyalty, part of the commission is passed back and rewarded to the customer who's incentivized. But are you guys going to continue in the methods and initiatives that you've been driving already, or are we going to be seeing new ways to reach new audiences later this year and next year?
Yeah, I think. I think what we're doing is working. Like it's definitely working. It has been for quite a long time. But I think again, going back to the marketing team, one of their like biggest like strengths that they have is they have an amazing ability to pivot and pivot really, really fast. So for example, when COVID came, like some of the channels and some of the campaigns or anything that we had already working just stopped working. So it's like, cool, let's trial new things and let's see what works. So I think just with what we've seen with COVID in terms of how quickly things can change, that could happen at any point. So we'll continue to test and learn different channels, partnerships, trying to reach out to different cohorts, but again, mixed in with a huge amount of what we're doing at the moment that's working.
Magic, can't wait. How are you guys feeling after Source 2?
Oh man, like
it's like a slow builder. It's
Yeah.
like a barbecue sauce, and then it just like it hits you up on the side. Yeah,
I can feel it down my throat.
Same.
yeah.
How are you?
Coping all right, yeah. I think this next one will gear us up to 4 and 5. All right, well, on the third sauce anyway, the third one is Seed Ranch. Thai hot green hot sauce. So this is 75,000 Scovilles. So it's a bit of a step up. So we went from 5 to 21, now to 75. So this is 3 times hotter than the previous.
3 times hotter than. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Just a little bit. Oh my god, don't do that.
Yeah, this is the funnest webinar I've ever done.
until you have this bite.
Just a reminder to anyone who's watching, like, please do jump into Slido, hot seat ShopBack conference password, just any questions. But moving on, look guys, we're already 5 months into 2020, so Q2 is about to get wrapped up. Q3 is basically around the corner, which is crazy thinking about it. What can ShopBack partners and ShopBack users, your troopers as you call them, what can these guys get excited for to see later this year or even in next year? Are we going to be seeing new products? Are we going to see new functionality? Are there any new features which are going to be brought to market? Without saying too much or giving too much away, is there anything we can tease out?
You can have this one.
You're just trying to use this hot sauce as like a honesty serum.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, my nose is kind of running, like it's pretty hectic. So like just kind of zooming out from that. So we've shot like innovations really at the heart of what we try and do, what we try and achieve, day on day. That's right throughout all teams, be it sales, marketing, operations, engineering, technology. That's really, enabled by, we've been quite fortunate with some pretty serious investment coming in, announcement that was made recently. So Temasek being one of the latest rounds that we've closed. What that does is allow to scale our teams. It allows us to scale our tech and improve our tech, and it allows us to focus on growth marketing. So when we're thinking about what can we do, like what resources do we have to apply to technology change or feature change for our users and for our brands, that's certainly a focus. And I hate the term now more than ever, because I think that is the most overused marketing term literally in the world right now. But it is important, right? So during these times, people expect different things from us. Our brands want different things from us as well, or they want more from us. And that's a natural expectation. And we enjoy that challenge that presents. So what we're focusing on is really, from a customer standpoint, how do we help them to discover more brands? We feature over 1,300 brands on ShopBack. And when you're trying to find 1,300 or rifle through 1,300 brands on a small screen, it's really hard to do. So we'll be focusing on discoverability. And also then there's other things that we've really lent into around gamification. So Cashback Troopers was an initiative brought out of Singapore. We scaled that around the region. Fun fact for you, Cashback Troopers had 26 years of playing time throughout Q4 across all regions. So it was highly, highly adopted. So we'll focus a lot on that as well. Discoverability, functionality, and also, how do we keep them entertaining within our ecosystem? From a brand perspective, we're more looking at how do we help brands to convey their brand story better through our platform. So we want to help them do that, help move up the funnel. So there'll be a lot of work put into the features that will help unlock different aspects of the marketing funnel for our brands to our consumers. And the other point is looking at ways in which that we can kind of better work with partners, I guess. So partners could take up many different forms, but there's certainly a focus on that as well. But all in all, like I think it's just more like, hopefully this is something that people like our brands and our customers see is we don't like to sit still. We like to kind of innovate. We like to bring new products, test and learn. Admittedly, a lot of things don't work, but we quickly rule them out with data and move into and lean into things that do work.
So from a brand perspective, partner perspective, what advice would you give to your partners right now within the current climate with potentially restricted marketing budgets on what they can do? Like, what's your advice to them right now?
Yeah, man, it's a really interesting one, right? Because I think you'll probably see this. There's kind of like almost 3 cohorts of brands at the moment. Ones that are just going and doubling down and investing more than they've ever done before to try and capitalize on like this massive online market shift. Then you've got the brands who are just continuing to do business as normal stuff, and then brands that are looking a little bit closer at their budgets and starting to really monitor them. And I think for those guys, mate, the advice would be to have a look at all the channels that you're investing in, and making sure that they're giving you the return that you want from a cost perspective, and whether that's like an acquisition, new customers, whatever it is. And I think the one thing from our side of things, it's just remembering that, and I don't know how other publishers are working, but for us, everything's CPA based. So it's all performance based. So you're not paying for CPC or tenancy fees or any of that stuff. So relatively low risk. What we do know is that we're seeing like crazy amounts of shoppers and people transacting and new shoppers coming through. So it's like an awesome time to capture that audience in a relatively risk-free environment where it's all cost per sale.
For sure. No, definitely. It's a really interesting point. I think we have had a message from the viewers. They have asked us to get more sauce in the next couple of weeks. So essentially all that tells me is people want to see us suffer. So I'm going to go for a bit more sauce in this next question.
Oh my God, right.
For the viewers' sake, we're about to go from 74,000 to 112,000 Scovilles. Again, it's another jumper than we do have. So fourth sauce, Police, Firewater. This is 112.
That one and then that one.
Yeah. So we have milkshakes, we have spice soothing condiments or drinks to help us cope with the spice, but really test ourselves on this fourth one.
These last 2 are very potent and very thick.
Sorry in advance.
Oh my God, you have so much sauce in there. Oh, I think there's going to be a man down.
Legend.
There's no way anyone can come back from that.
Keep dipping. Okay, we touched on the birthday before, and I know we touched on, you know, some big stats and what you guys are seeing. And, you know, since COVID's hit, we've seen obvious trends. You have access to all the data at your end and access to all the network data. You know, are people spending less frequently but spending more each time, or other way around? You know, what kind of insights are you seeing at your end? Is there anything notable right now which you didn't expect before this pandemic hit, like in terms of online trends?
I'll tell you what I didn't expect before this pandemic came was to be sitting in a room eating the hottest sauce I've ever eaten in my life, trying to talk about e-commerce. That's one thing that wasn't expected. Holy, that is so hot.
Right.
So
give it a crack.
Your question was about consumer trends and data from what I remember. Okay. So okay, let's talk about the macro stuff. So I think from a macro point of view, there's so many different reports, white papers, webinars out there at the moment. So there's a lot of info. But what we're seeing from a trends perspective is that there's more new customers shopping online than previous months, right? So a crazy stat out there was 43% of customers to websites were new customers who had not shopped at that website before. Yeah. So whether or not your brands are seeing that, I mean, we certainly are seeing that trend in terms of new customer growth, but also, you know, people coming back to ShopBack to purchase more frequently. So there's a lower order value for sure, but there's a more frequent order value. And like if you think about that yourself, right? Like you're sitting at home, you're you're looking around your house, you're finding things that you need to fix, you're finding things that you want to add to your house. So you're doing lots of little shops. So I understand why AOV has gone down. Ozpost have said that 80%, there's been an 80% growth in deliveries year on year. So that kind of like from a fulfillment perspective ratifies what we're saying. Yeah. But what I would say is that we're seeing things change rapidly. So from March, when we saw the hit on groceries with panic buying, through to alcohol then being hit, and there's been some real over demand issues with those merchants. We've seen them into athletic wear, into fitness wear, and most recently into May, a real trend into beauty. In fact, I was talking to a GM of one of Australia's bigger beauty brands, And then, you know, there's this whole lipstick effect piece that throughout the Great Depression, I believe it was, people were buying things that would make them feel good and look nice. And that's true for today as well. So we're seeing trends in that healthcare beauty piece as well. Sorry, this is really hurting me.
I know, I'm struggling right now, guys. Honestly.
Yeah, but so what I'm thinking is for our business moving forward is that the sands are going to continue to change. Like, do we see restrictions lift and we see travel come back in some form, or do we see a second wave and we see people bunker down even harder and focus back more on essentials? But I mean, it's something that we're watching weekly. We're pivoting our marketing towards that as well.
For sure.
But in terms of what brands should be looking at, and this is what I guess a couple of pieces of advice that we're looking at. That stat around new customers, or this present time being more prolific for new customers, you really need to think about what your onboarding journey, journeys look like. You know, have a look at the user data that you've got. Even reach out to customers, find out how they heard about you, and really, like, from a marketing budget position, you need to kind of adopt and change to that. And I'd also say keep moving, like keep those campaigns going. What we find is, again, that customers are expecting to be marketed to right now. They don't expect brands to go quiet, and they certainly expect brands to be asking what they want from them as a consumer. So speak to your customer base, ask them what they want.
Sure.
Yeah, so they're kind of the points that I'd focus on. New customer journey, speaking to them, where did you find us, and double down on those channels.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's very relevant right now. You know, like you said, people come. Sorry, I'm just really hot. People come into the app just to see what's going on. Yeah. And they're being faced with these offers. So, you know, I'm being on a performance channel like affiliate, people are going to come in and purchase, you're going to pay for sale. But during a time like this, when people are consuming a lot of content and looking at offers, and, you know, people are spending a lot more time top of funnel and doing that research before they hit the bottom of the funnel, right? Yeah. So if people are coming into the app, you know, the advice to clients right now and advertisers is, let's be front of mind. You know, if sales don't come in straight away, not an issue. But if you're there, you've got the, you know, the branding, the prospecting, there's that element to it, and then just keep in front of mind. But I totally agree with consistency, because, you know, we've seen a lot of strong offers in market. So would you guys say that this statement's true, that, you know, is there going to be a direct correlation between sales, engagement, traffic, and everything else if brands are still pushing, even in non-essential verticals, pushing strong offers in market?
Yeah. Mate, the number of offers in market it's really, really high at the moment. We kind of seen like a trend over the last couple of months. We've seen offers of the strength that you'd probably see around Black Friday. So typically brands would only do maybe 3 or 4 days a year at like these really big rates. And what we're seeing now is like that's been the norm. And I assume, like, I'm obviously spoken to a few of them, but not everyone. I think a lot of it's offline has just shut down. So there's been a massive dependence on online. So what they're trying to do is drive as much as they can through online. And in some cases that involves doing discounts. But yeah, like I think when I was reading, I think it's about 70% of Australian retailers have aggressively discounted in the last 2 months, which is massive. And that's what we're probably seeing from our side. The good news is, like, users or our customers, and I assume this correlates to everyone, they're still buying. Like yesterday was the last couple of days, has been huge for us. Like, we've had a campaign called Cashback Carnival with tons and tons of different offers on there, and it's just the volume of transactions coming through just shows that there's still a massive appetite. So brands that are running these offers are really, they're acquiring a ton of new customers, and they're acquiring a lot of revenue.
Really good. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Look, I think everyone's really excited for the rest of the year and what's to come. You know, obviously Q4 is still half a year away, but a very busy time. So we'll see what kind of state we're in from a online perspective at that time of year. But with this last question, guys, what I want to do is just going to keep it fun. I'm going to eat the hot wing at the same time as you, and then before the heat fully impacts or fully hits, I'm going to just quickly fire off you guys. And then
what was the last one? Just out of interest to this one.
The last one was Firewater. That was 112,000 Scovilles. This one is 678,000 Scovilles.
Don't do as much.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting it like really on the front of my tongue. It's like,
I've got a bit of a numb lip.
Mate, it's everywhere. Let's just show the viewers at home. These are all the sources we've had, and then this one here that's just like
a thick
paste.
Like
a thick paste. That's what we're about to embark on.
All right, I'm going to be really careful with this paste. Go on.
Yeah,
You-
no, I was going to
actually,
say, like, if there's any anaphylaxis or anything, like, I love you guys. It's been cool working with you for these past few years. And
Nima, you go
Yeah.
first, mate. Yeah, just yeah. There we go. Just want to.
it's all over his mouth. Look at it.
I just want to
Is that
get.
just-
I want to get a sense check on.
All right.
Oh yeah, he's in trouble. All right, there we go. Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
No more. No more. Okay, question. What about the question? So during isolation,
yeah,
what
yeah.
what are the two things that you guys have missed the most? Tom, I know you're over in Manly and
Oh,
you're up in North Shore. What are the two things you've missed the most while you've been encouraged to stay inside?
oh, mate. I think. Oh,
That's horrible.
I've missed live sport a lot. Just generally any sport, I'd watch anything right now. Live sport, and I love a schooner. Just going for a cold schooner at the pub. I'd love both of those. And if they were combined, that would be even better. Yeah, that's it for me.
How about you, Gus?
It would probably be like friends and family are definitely something I've been missing. I mean, my family is in central west New South Wales, so it's kind of hard to go and see them. But family, and then like Tom, I'd really love one cold beer off the tap. You know,
Yeah.
like just like the pub that we walk into straight after these lockdowns raise is they're going to need to be well stocked up,
Supplied,
resourced. In fact, yes.
I mean, the good news is that
oh my god.
the good news is that as of last Friday in New South Wales, they've reopened pubs, cafes, and restaurants. So
How good's that? How good's that? Yeah.
so good,
Yeah.
so good. So like, you know, anyone outside of Australia or outside of New South Wales, there's like 10 people allowed in at the moment.
Going again.
It's like two
God.
meters behind, 2 meters apart. But yeah, like, you know, I haven't been for my first pint or schooner yet, but
Oh,
intend
bloody
to.
good.
Okay, feel free to cool down. I'm just going to refer to Slido now and just see if any questions have come in. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
That's like Sex Panther at Bell's Hot
You
Chicken.
better qualify where that's from.
Sorry, yeah, it's from Bell's Hot Chicken. It's not some weird thing. Oh,
It's so hot. Like a heart thing going on.
streaming.
Okay, here we go. Question 1 or 2.
Okay, there we go.
Question 1, this is a quick fire question. Angus, Tom, do you boys even like spicy food? Question mark.
No, I don't. Gus actually does like it.
I do. I think it's a bit of a challenge. Like it's nice. Like, would I prefer to cook like a creamy dish at home or a spicy dish? Definitely spicy dish. But I mean, not in the form of a challenge. I think that just kind of, it's just next level.
With next question, with ISO coming to an end in Australia, essentially, you know, retail stores are beginning to open now, so offline space is going to be a lot busier when you go to the city. What are your predictions on how this will impact online retail? Do you think there's going to be a shift away from online transactions with people going into store? Do you think people are going to be super careful and with the limitation in store visits? Do you think there's going to be any sort of like offline to online impact there?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this. So I think so first and foremost, I think humans are very accustomed to kind of habits. We're very habitual people, or habitual things. But I think what's happened over the last couple of months has really forced people to kind of change and maybe step out of their comfort zone when it comes to how they would normally shop.
Yeah.
Boston Consulting have put some interesting research out that shows they spoke to people who've shopped during COVID, and 1 in 3 have said that they'll not change their shopping behaviour. So I think the interesting thing when the numbers come out next month will be how quickly has COVID accelerated online's growth. So we know that we're about 10% of the global of the national spend in retail. Online accounts for 10%. Yep. So let's see how that scales. And I think if customers are having a good experience, as in the experience is good, the price is right, they're not too uncomfortable with not being able to touch things and feel things, the fulfillment's good and fast, then there's no reason for them to want to have to go back.
Yep.
But don't forget that obviously the tactile, part of shopping, being able to go into a showroom, right? So right now, if you walk down Pitt Street Mall, you can go into all the shops, and all the shops are running some pretty heavy discounts right now as well, right? So there's that kind of the magnetizing effect, I guess, that people will be drawn in. But like from me, mate, I genuinely think that this has been an amazing thing. The pandemic is terrible. It's inconvenient. It's ruined lives and livelihoods. I get that. But where, from an industry standpoint, I think it's going to be in the long term an accelerator of our growth and our relevance when it comes to consumer shopping behavior.
100%, yeah, 100%. Like time will tell over the next few months what's going to happen, but yeah, I totally agree with you. Question coming in. I like this one. If you were during isolation to spend your time with one person, be that a celebrity, which celebrity and why?
Oh,
Super hot.
mate, I wouldn't mind going. Oh, it's a bit weird.
Who are you going to say?
Oh.
No, you got to say it now. You can't.
Mate, I tell you, someone who looks like they have an unbelievable life is Chris Hemsworth. I wouldn't mind going and hanging out in Byron with Chris Hemsworth.
What a life, right?
I can't really say a female celebrity because I think my girlfriend would get pretty annoyed. So I'll just stick with Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd probably say who's a really good singer,
Singer?
like an amazing rapper.
Well,
like,
mate, go and hang out with Justin Bieber.
Can they be alive or like past celebrities?
Oh, anyone, yeah.
Oh.
I like to think myself as like a really terrible Biggie Smalls rapper. So like maybe if you could be so kind as to bring Biggie Smalls back, and maybe I can hang out with him and we can learn how to sing, the lyrics to something other than Juicy together. I think that'd be cool.
Drinking a lot of cognac then.
What about you?
I don't know, man. I was thinking about this, like David Attenborough.
Oh, what a man.
Just because he's an absolute legend. When you get a bit stressed out or you're losing your marbles a bit, you've got his voice to kind of bring you back to reality. So yeah. But no, I think that'd be a good one. But no, that's all for isolation question, guys. Like, firstly, just a huge thank you for actually saying yes to this and coming on. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Thank you for answering the questions and being honest with us. Honestly, how did it go?
Mate, I think it went all right. First three were fine. Those last two got me.
Yeah, my mouth's on fire.
Pretty bad. But I'm excited to make some of the rest of the team have some now. I'm just gonna force them to have hot sauce.
Yeah, get Reese on it. Don't worry. Spike his coffee or just something. Just put something in there.
Yeah.
Like,
we can probably
do that.
Yeah.
We'll make some funny TikTok videos, pranks, chili spice pranks.
Make sure he's in a ShopBack t-shirt. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone tuning in.
Thanks,
big
everyone.
Virtual round of applause for you guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Good sport.
Appreciate it.
Speak to you guys
Thanks
soon. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
guys.
Thank you.